Hello, everyone. My name is Gus.
Hi, I'm Woody.
Today, we're reacting to someone who went pretty deep on a dive and had a catastrophic regulator failure at the worst possible time, which is his maximum depth.
What was the maximum depth?
180 feet. So over 50
Was
meters.
he with somebody?
No.
Oh, man.
That's
rare. So the regulator? That's kind of weird. I mean, it's pretty rare that a regulator explodes, but okay, roll it.
fair warning, though, I will say.
Okay.
There's some curse words. This guy wasn't very happy about the fact that his regulator failed. Spoiler alert, he survived. So this is not a watch somebody die type of situation, but he was understandably upset at the end. So if you're watching this with kids, you've been warned. There'll be some cursing. So it's like a fisher, whatever, spearfisher. Seagull regulator failure.
First stage seas blows. That is pretty rare. Shows you it can happen, man.
Yep.
You better be near your buddy at all times at 180 feet.
185 feet, apparently. So he's going down.
That's deep. Cool.
It's a cool
Little
shark.
white tip, I think.
186, it looks like it's showing. Yeah. Or 166, I wasn't sure. But wait. What was the air left on it? Hold on, I got to go back and check this out. So he has, okay, so he's right at, looks like 2,700.
2,700, okay.
2,700 PSI. So he has good air. Anyway, he made it.
I mean, he can't be down there long because his deco profile is going through the roof.
And you see it says 3. So I think that 3 is 3 minutes of NDL.
Yeah,
so you have 3 minutes and then you have to
at that depth, don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but it would be approximately at that depth almost twice the amount of deco per dive time. So if you were down at that depth for 10 minutes, your deco would be 20 minutes.
Right.
That's typically about 200 feet what the correlation is.
That's right. And that 3-minute NDL, by the way, guys, is no decompression limit, means you don't have obligation. You don't have mandatory deco stops on the way up if you're down there for less than 3 minutes. Here we go. Yeah, those are cool snapper, but
So it's blown already. That's why he's
about to.
Just wondering why we can hear his breathing now. That like what happened? Oh, here we go. There we go.
Uh-oh.
Now that would be very fast loss because that's not a high pressure seat, which would actually be a slow lead. It's opposite of what you think. A high pressure port blowing would be much slower because it's such a small opening.
Tiny hole, yeah.
But if I'm not sure exactly what happened, but if the first stage
blew up,
exploded, that's sort of an intermediate pressure at that point. So it's not a high pressure, and that's going to come out really fast.
Yeah, and the challenge, or in simpler words, the hole is bigger, so air comes out faster.
Yeah.
But look what he's doing. I am inflating the BC and trying to get shallower. That's an uncontrolled ascent, or what we call an uncontrolled ascent, which is a big no in scuba. Every ascent should be a control ascent. Even emergency ones, you want to start ascending, and if you pass out, fine. But you don't want to just inflate your BC and try to go.
Because that's almost a guaranteed death if you do that.
Correct.
But this is interesting. I have to shut down and switch to, wow, a 13. You and I are pretty rough on the pony bottles.
That's right.
He's got a 13 cubic foot pony bottle. I wonder if that's what got him out. That doesn't bode good for you and I's many videos where we're like, they're a waste of time. So
they are a waste.
Well, let's see if this was a waste in his case. Just to be objective on ourselves.
He's just going.
Blowing through.
I mean, I wish the SPG, the depth gauge, was on the screen the whole time so we can see how fast it's going.
There comes the little pony bottle. So he's flying right now?
Feels like it.
Need to slow the ascent, I would say. This computer is probably screaming at him. Okay.
Seems pretty
Looks like
calm
he
now.
chilled out. He's got air. Drift diving. I guess he's going to fire that SMB.
Yeah.
He's breathing very calmly. Very relaxed.
Yeah.
This guy is in control, I'm going to say. Come on, you got to be impressed. Look how chilled he is.
Yeah.
He just lost his main air source. So he's got 13 cubic feet. We normally dive with an 80. He must not have any deco obligation because he was only down there for a couple of minutes,
Yeah,
right?
like 30 seconds or something. It was.
So that was real. That was they weren't cutting and splashing. He was only down there a little bit.
Yeah, I think he caught it a little bit on the way up because it was a long ascent.
But not on the bottom.
Not at the bottom.
Okay.
I don't think he caught it at the bottom. The thing is, and you brought up an interesting point, which is we slammed these Bella bottles, this tiny bottles, because you know we say they're useless, and this is proof that they are very useful. Are they though? Because the thing is, this guy was down there for like 30 seconds, and he had no deco obligation. But if he's there for 5 minutes, and then it blows up, now what?
And I'm not going to solo dive to 185 feet.
No.
So forget the 13 cubic foot pony bottle. I'm going to you and going.
No
and
air.
now we got plenty of air,
Oh.
and we slowly come up together, and we're holding each other, so we have that security of
That's
I got you, right? So this is all eliminated when you don't solo dive, which is a rule that I self-impose on myself. I don't solo dive.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're certified to or not.
So this guy had a pony bottle, which is good, but he was extremely lucky that the failure happened early in the dive. Very, very early in the dive.
Otherwise, he would be doing an emergency buoyant ascent. No air, having to blow bubbles all the way up from 180 feet,
And skip
185 feet
deco.
up.
Skip deco stops.
Yeah. I mean, we know he can't live underwater, so he's got to say, well, I'll risk getting bent, but I got to get to the surface and try to exhale all the way so I don't blow up my lungs. That's what would happen if he basically didn't have that pony bottle.
Yep.
I just like to be objective. Here's a circumstance where we can't say, well, they're never handy. They could be handy if you're by yourself and it was very early in a dive when it blew up.
Yeah.
But he's super chilled. Really, the guy he did do the stop, think, relax approach, to his credit. I mean, he fired his SMB beautifully. With what, by the way? Did he just blow into it?
I guess so.
You don't have much excess air there.
No.
I assume the tank's already empty, the main tank.
Yeah.
I don't hear it anymore.
Unless he closed it. But
Maybe he could reach back and close it. I would struggle to do that.
yeah.
Is he stopping, actually?
He did like a safety stop, yeah.
Wow.
But it seems like he started his ascent with the main air, like as it was depleting, which is smart.
Okay.
If you can get from like 180 to like 100 on that tank, then switch, it's a better chance.
This could be another experiment for you and I. You purge my regulator starting at 180 feet. Just hold the purge button. Same thing as exploding it. And I have a 13 cubic foot.
Let's
See what happens.
There's line everywhere. What's going on?
I guess, is that his line or another line?
It's that fishing line or something.
It's coming straight from the bottom. Weird.
Look at this. It's like tangled. Unlike me, I never get tangled.
From now on, when I dive with you, I'm just going to take my knife out at the start of the dive.
Dive with a knife.
I know we're ready. Okay. Wow. I got to compliment the guy. I have to I don't think you should solo dive, but look at the SMB.
Yeah.
Really good job.
Neutral. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's fucked up. Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
You should see the boat. Take this. I can take my tank off. Turn the engine off.
I mean, he's pissed. It's like almost died.
Did you see what happened? No. You got thousands of feet of line all over around the prop. Holy fuck, I blew a hose or something. An O-ring or a hose on the main tank blew.
Look at the
Did you saw the
tiny,
bubbles? Yeah, so you saw what
the
happened.
pony bottle.
Yeah, I see it.
Kind of freaked out. All right.
For being kind of freaked
Well,
out,
have to trim the motor up.
he was sure calm.
Oh man.
You would be saying that if that's happened to you.
Well, all right, that's good.
That's
good.
just
Look at this.
happens to be line. That has nothing to do with this
Yeah, I did. I
situation.
was freaking out.
That looks like
All
my
right,
leg
I'm all
on
right.
a regular dive. That's my ankle right there.
That's a lot of line, by the way.
Probably why you stalled. Let's see, turn the tank on. Where's it blowing
I don't
from? The
know.
whole first stage blew out.
Wow.
Fail.
I've never seen this happen
Girl.
in all my years.
Holy shit. Let's see what it looks like. Whole thing. Oh, look at that shit.
Blew a hole right
Dude,
through.
that was super bad. It blew out.
Damn.
Yeah, it was
That's
fucking
horrible.
bad. All right, hook it up. Let's hook it up and blow it out.
Never seen this happen. I've never ever seen a first stage blow. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I haven't seen that at depth.
Yeah.
I've seen it maybe some issue happen when you first test at the surface, but once you turn that air on and it's sealed at the surface, down below shouldn't create additional risk of that thing blowing. Very strange. But I thought he did a good job.
I'm
And
gonna grab this regulator. It's a broken regulator, but it's still. I just want to explain because we keep talking about first stage, second stage, and some people are not divers, so you don't know what that means. When we talk about regulators, we're talking about the whole thing, like this thing right here. Most people think this is the regulator, and that's partially true, but this is what we call a second stage. The second stage regulator is what goes in your mouth. The first stage is what goes in the tank. This thing right here. So this goes in. Sorry, this goes in the tank, all right? And then this goes in your mouth. This is the second stage. This is the first stage. So that's what we mean. And they both are different because, as you notice, in this case, I have two second stages, right? You always have a safety that you can pass to people that run out of air or have a problem. And then you have your own, your primary, right? So if your second stage fails, you can still breathe out of the other one, right? I mean, you're running out of air, which is a problem, but you can still breathe. But there's only one first stage. So if your first stage fails, your two second stages are pretty useless.
that's when you would want to have a buddy and simply go up and grab their alternate and everything's cool.
That's
But
right.
in this case, we do have to say
Yeah.
that the 13 cubic foot tank, I don't know if he would have made an emergency buoyant ascent all the way from that depth to the surface without drowning. That's a long way to go.
Yeah, I think he wouldn't have made it. But we did test some of these small pony bottles. Like we tested one. I'm gonna leave the link up here where you took one that was 6 cubic feet. He had a 13, so yours was less than half the size that he had. 6 cubic feet from 100 feet, so from 30 meters, and you made it all the way to the safety stop.
Yeah.
That's when you ran out of air. So I can see that if he bailed out into a 13, which is more than twice what you started with, from like 120 or 130, 40 meters instead of 30, you can make it all the way because you have twice or more the amount of air.
You can make it all the way, but you would not have time to stop.
Right.
He actually stopped.
He actually stopped. Now, the reason why it worked for him, as we mentioned earlier, is because he was within the NDL limit, the no decompression limit, which means he did not really have to stop to go all the way to the surface. And on his computer, unless I'm wrong, it said he had 3 minutes at the bottom before he started to accrue decompression, before he started to have mandatory deco stops. So he failed. His first stage failed within those 3 minutes, and that's why he could make it. But if he had a 10-minute deco stop, I mean, imagine if his first stop was a 70 feet, something like that, for 10 minutes. On 13 cubic feet?
You couldn't. You just have to risk being severely bent.
Yeah, paralyzed, dead.
Whether or
etc.
not you would survive that is a question mark, but you know you're going to die down there, so you might as well risk it. Right.
That's
So,
why we say, when people ask us about pony bottles, we always say do a 40 cubic feet or more.
Yeah, we don't, and it's because the pony bottle can make people push and say, well, now I can solo dive.
Correct.
That's what we don't like. And again, I just won't do that. We won't solo dive. Will you solo dive? Do you solo dive?
Not really, but
Okay.
if I'm on the rebreather where I have plenty of bailout and I'm out in the ocean like taking pictures, I feel pretty comfortable.
I mean, I would say that we have in effect when we're megalodon diving, we
Right.
are kind of solo diving because I don't know
Everybody's
about you,
focused.
but can you see me when I'm blowing sand all
No,
out?
no.
So but we're on a line and we're basically coming back to the same ascent point. We're not far from each other, but
Right.
we're not within buddy distance. So I guess
but I'm not
I'm
going to
being
180.
True, but I guess we say we don't solo dive, but there are circumstances where we're certainly not within 3 seconds of our buddy, but we're on a rebreather with bailout tanks.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're on a rebreather A with an 80 cubic feet of air. This guy had 13. And we're at 100 feet. This guy's 185.
Yep.
So
he got lucky.
there are some differences.
He got lucky.
He got
in this
lucky
case.
for sure.
Okay.
Anyway, I hope you enjoy that. But this is not the first reaction that we do about someone whose first stage blows up. We actually reacted to a dive master whose first stage blew up, and just like this guy, he kept it so cool, calm and collected. He took his gear, he analyzed it, and he's all caught on video. I'm going to leave it right here. You guys can check that out if you haven't seen it. Super awesome.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.